If you lose this one key movement, you're at higher risk of knee and hip pain throughout your life. What is that one key movement and how can you maintain it? That's what this video is going to be about. So what is this movement that I'm talking about? It's called ankle dorsiflexion. It's the ability to bring the foot towards you, toes towards you. It's only about 10 degrees of movement, but it's vital. Why is that? Well, we need that movement to bring the foot forward. If we can't dorsiflex the ankle, then we're at risk of stubbing the toe or catching it on some stairs and falling. When we stride, there's a moment in the back foot where even just for an instant, we have ankle dorsiflexion. So it's in the carry through and it's important in the back foot to have a good healthy stride. That's number one. Number two is the ability to squat or simply sit down in a chair. If you look closely, as my knees bend, the knee comes out toward the toes, the ankle dorsiflex. That's a requirement for squatting or sitting. The third reason that this is so important is because rigidity in the lower part of the body gets pushed up into the upper part of the body. I call it the trickle up theory. If I have the limited movement in my feet and ankles, I'm going to be required to walk more cautiously and my stride is going to be limited. When I limit my stride, it's going to have an impact in the hip and the knees. So what can we do to keep ankle dorsiflexion? Three shapes I'm going to show you. The first one of my favorites, is legs up the wall. And for this shape, you're going to need a 6-foot strap, scarf, or belt. Sit in fairly close to the wall, roll back, swing your legs up, support your head on a bolster or some firm cushion. This way, we can have a look at the feet and the ankles and watch what we're doing. The knees extended with the least amount of effort, which means I'm about 10 or 12 inches away from the wall. The tailbone has to rest on the floor. This shape alone helps with passive extension of the knees, the knee joint. We want every joint in the body to have its full range of motion actively and passively. So right now the knees are extending passively and I open up the strap. I put it around the ball of my left foot. So the strap comes over the big toe base and the little toe base. My hands are high. The heel is centered on the wall. Here, I can actually close my eyes, relax the shoulders, and feel the passive impact of the strap and the weight of my arms on my leg. I can feel the release in the back of the lower leg, even up into the knee. And then, after a minute or so passively, then I start to engage the muscles in the shin, in the front of the lower leg, and bring the toes toward me. Now I'm not pulling on the strap. The weight of my arms is enough. I'm using my eyes to watch the movement and see what's happening. Is it moving the way I want it to? After about a minute and a half or so, I switch the strap to the ball of the right foot, other side. Hands high. Now, if your hands get tired, you can wrap the strap around your hands. The aim here is to have the weight of your arms dropping down through the ankle and down into the bones of your leg. With time and practice, you won't need the wrap and you'll simply be able to hold the strap and work on your fingers, your arms and shoulders all at the same time. Passively for about a minute and then actively bringing the toes, keeping the heel centered on the wall, actively engaging ankle dorsiflexion and sustaining it. We need to sustain the movement to get the release in the back of the leg. We need to sustain the movement to cleanse and fortify the joints. the many articulating surfaces within the ankle itself. When the time is right, release, set the strap at the side, bend your knees, roll onto one side, and now clear your mat. We're going to take the work that we just did on the wall into a practical standing shape. I love these sandbags for many reasons. They're especially good for what we're about to do. You can use a sandbag if you have one, but if not, find a beach towel or a dense cotton or wool blanket, fold it up so you have 2 or 3 inches of elevation. That's all we're looking for. And we'll start with the left foot first. So I step on to the sandbag so that about half of my front foot is on the sandbag, my heel on the floor. The right foot is positioned back, so it looks like a freeze frame in a regular, everyday walking movement. But I pause here, I straighten the knees, I level the pelvis with the floor a little bit, and then all good, then I step forward. Just take a few inches forward with your step. Long and tall through your spine, straighten both knees again, which means firming your thighs. And if it's all good, you can step forward all the way with the right foot so the toes are in alignment. The hands are still on the wall supporting the shape. The thighs are firming. Tailbone moves down. Pubic bone up toward your nose. And here you may close your eyes. Squeeze the muscles in your legs. Feel for your bones. And feel the dorsiflexion of the left ankle. A couple minutes go by. Release the shape. Shift the sandbag to the other side. Now the nice thing about a sandbag, which is also true for the material that you're using, you can increase the height of it. Don't increase the intensity so much that you can't sustain the shape with good, healthy, healing sensation. So I step onto the sandbag with the right foot, heel on the floor, firm the thighs, I check in, and if it's doable, I keep stepping forward until the toes are in alignment. And then firm the thighs, wait and feel for the release. In the back of the lower leg, I welcome the compression in the front of the leg, the instep. You can actually relax the foot and toes here. So I'm feeling down through both legs, accentuating a little bit the feeling down through the right leg into the right heel. Good, healthy dorsiflexion. When the time is right, we step away and have a little walk. Just walk and feel. Can you feel the push off your toes a little bit? And feel the way your foot carries through. Nice, safe, welcoming environment. Now, the last and final shape that I'll show you here has to do with exaggerating the shape a bit. So I'm going to place the right foot in the right front corner of the mat, and look, I'm going to turn the heel out slightly so the outer edge of the foot is exactly on the edge of the mat. Hands on the wall, shoulder height, and I step back a little farther than normal. It's a bigger stance, a bigger stride, but the outer part of the heel also lined exactly on the mat. It's a bigger stance, yet the heel has to be on the floor, has to be doable, even though there might be a little bit of effort to keep the heel down. I orient the pelvis to the room, level it with the floor a little bit, hands on the wall, shoulder height, and here, if it feels safe to you, you may close the eyes. It removes a whole bunch of the sensory feedback, and by shutting the eyes requires you to drop into your ankles. Rely on your bones. Rely on a deeper part of your vestibular system to stay balanced. The thighs are engaged. The knees straighten. I feel down through the back leg into the back heel. I sustain it for 1.5 minutes or 2, and then bend the knees, release the shape, and switch it out. Step forward to the left. Be sure the outer edges of the feet are on the edge of the mat exactly. If you can't get that, then that means your stance is too big. So shorten the stance, ensure that the heel can press down, firm your thighs. If it feels safe, close your eyes and let the shape work for you. Dissolve restrictions, cleanse joints, increase healthy mobility and balance. That's the name of our game. All right, and then we release the shape. And one final shape, the squat itself, which is a significant barometer for the overall health of the body. So just sitting in a chair is a partial squat, but that's not the full range of motion of the knee. It's not the full range of motion of the ankle. It's not the full range of motion of the hip. So you can see why developing the mobility to have a healthy squat is so important. And just because it's difficult to squat doesn't mean that you should not do the yoga. You meet yourself where you are and you develop the mobility to do the shapes. Squatting was never in my practice, but I did everything that I'm telling you about here and developed the mobility and the health along the way. So the squat could look like this. You may rely on the wall. You may have support. And with time and practice, the squat starts to change. Your walk starts to change. Your gait starts to change. Your balance improves. Mobility improves. And the chances of hurting yourself begin to drop away. I hope this has made sense to you. I hope you're encouraged to practice. It just takes 2-3 times a week. The key is consistency. I practice 3 to 4 times a week. That's what I recommend, but I've seen people get results with less. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you find this helpful. Namaste.